Good morning, good afternoon, or good night from whenever and wherever you are watching us. I am Cameron Scandal, that is Steven Treffler, and we are the sound. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. We are happy to be back here with you after leaving you on a 2-week hiatus. We are aware that the sports world was quiet and on mute for quite some time, and we do hope that you accept our apology in being away for so long. We are back here now to give you the correct sports analysis that you deserve. We hope you're staying cool in this ridiculous heat wave. I mean, I know, Steve, here in South Central PA, we are certainly feeling the effects of this heat.
Yeah, it's not fun right now. It's you step outside for 30 seconds, you come back in and you're drenched in sweat. It's just humid and miserable.
Yeah. I had a thought when I was walking out of work. This is the type of heat where, like in movies, they play that harmonica sound. That's the type of heat that we got right now. But regardless of the heat, we got a great show for you. The Miami Heat are not involved, unfortunately. We got a little bit of finals, a little bit of Kevin Durant, and we're dipping our toes back into the NFL just a little bit, and perhaps a forgotten segment that people may not remember. But folks, without further ado, let's get right into it. Moving on to our first topic of the day. In case you haven't heard, the Oklahoma City Thunder are your 2025 NBA champions. Give it up for OKC. Well-deserved. Beat Indiana in a Game 7. Steve, this was not a championship matchup or the championship team that we thought was going to come out of the 25 season. What is your reaction to the Oklahoma City Thunder being crowned champions?
When they finally won, I'll admit I was not very impressed. To me, their path playing the Grizzlies in round 1, which was nothing of a team, then playing the Nuggets in round 2, little banged up, whatever. It was impressive. That was probably their most impressive win these playoffs, was when they beat the Nuggets going through the, previous champions in round 2. And then going through the Timberwolves, I was like, all right, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, they kind of lost the step in the Western Conference Finals. Anthony Edwards did not play well. And then they go into this battle against a team who is one of the biggest underdogs in finals history. No one expected them to be there, right? I found something that speaks directly to why maybe I might not be as impressed about the Thunder winning, Cam, and I want you to bring us back to double screen here because I want to see your reaction to this. Mm-hmm. David Stern was the commissioner for most of my life. There were only 8 different champions over the 30 years that he was the commissioner of the NBA. Mm-hmm. Adam Silver has been the commissioner for 12 years. There have been 9 different champions. I grew up in a dynasty era, and we're in a parity era now. We're in an era where there is so much unpredictability with each season, as we've seen in the last few years, that a new team winning shouldn't be unimpressive. It should be as impressive as anything because they've done something that clearly there isn't a single team right now that is the best, because there have been 5 different freaking teams that have won the finals over the last 5 years. So maybe I haven't given them the flowers that they deserve, but just due to the way that they got there, it just seems it's like it doesn't taste like sweet victory to me. It's almost like a soft golf clap, and I'm like, you know what? Good for you guys.
I mean, to be fair to the Thunder, that's the benefit of being the 1 seed. That's the benefit of winning that many games, that you get the easier path to the finals. I have sort of the opposite feeling of, well, I'm not like uber impressed, but what I am impressed by is that this was the Oklahoma City team from October to June. There was no difference. There was no fall off. There was no change in game plan. This was the team we saw all season, and that was a team we saw at the end. Before I get too deep into the Thunder, I want to touch on the Pacers a smidge. The Pacers redefine their perception of who they are as a team for at least the next half decade, at least. Because going into this season, even going into the postseason, no one believed in Indiana. No one was putting any stock in them. Even the last, 2 or 3 years with making pretty good playoff runs, the consensus was still, it's Indiana. There's not enough juice there. They're not good enough. No one's going to say that anymore. No one is going to come out here and say Tyrese Halliburton is the most overrated player in the NBA. Pascal Siakam, I think, just put himself in an elite category of number 2 options who can be number 1 options. In the likes of Jaylen Brown, we had talked about even like today, Desmond Bane kind of being in that role. That's now where Pascal Siakam is at, where it was just, he's an all-star, he's pretty good, to now, no, this is someone who can be a legitimate option on your team. Rick Carlisle putting himself in brand new conversations as a coach, not like top 5 conversations, but he's had 2 of the most impressive playoff runs in NBA history, and they're under his command. So the Pacers have rewrote their own destiny for a while, and that should be noted. Oklahoma City also, I think, won a little differently in a sense of like, we normally see one super duper star, like an iconic all-time player, along with another made guy, for lack of a better term, and pieces that just fit perfectly, or just like role players that mesh. What they have done is everyone buys in. It's all vibes, and it is all self-belief, I guess, for lack of a better term. And the best team does not always win the finals, but this year they did. That's my number 1 biggest takeaway. Like, there are years like 2015 where I think that Cavs team and LeBron was better than Golden State at the time. But obviously Golden State won doesn't always mean that the team who wins the championship is the best team. I think that's the case this season. Like I said earlier, they were the best team from start to finish. We were also, Steve, vocal advocates of they're too young. They have no veteran presence. They have no experience. They have beaten those allegations. I think now going forward, we may be more apprehensive on giving out the award of you're too young, you're not going to be able to do it, because they just proved it. Because again, it is not so much now in the new style of the NBA, it is not so much let's rally behind 1, maybe 2 guys and have them carry us. It's now, no, everyone's going to do their part. Everyone's going to have a specific role. Everyone knows exactly where they are needed and what they need to do. And it's just impressive to see that from, again, start to finish, they had the same pace, the same style, the same defense, the same aggressive attitude. They believed in themselves from start to finish. So it's just impressive that, like, the other shoe never dropped. We usually wait for one of these championship teams, something's going to happen, and another team's going to go forward. That just never was the case with Oklahoma City.
No, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the fact that we always, with teams like this, like the Cavs, when they would be, number 1 in the East in, middle of the season, and we sit back and we're waiting, okay, when do the real Cavs show up? I remember you and me talking about that. But another point that you made that I also think kind of speaks to, maybe I'm not quite a boomer, but I'm kind of stuck in that in between era, is typically an iconic superstar is the person that is the leader and the person that is, they're winning with, right? We've seen, the Nikola Jokic's, the Giannis Antetokounmpo's, LeBron, Steph Curry, and even going back to when I really got into basketball, it was always Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Shaq. It was always those perennial superstars that were, we unfortunately now don't get to see, except unless they're, seeing a game from
Pantheon guys.
Correct. And I think maybe that's where it's just the generational lack of appreciation. And I'm not used to seeing, maybe I should be by now, but I'm not used to seeing a team like the Thunder win without there being a LeBron or a Curry or a Tim Duncan on the court, where now I can talk about what does this do for their legacy? What is this? I'm all about talking about how somebody's adding to their resume. And there wasn't that storyline in these finals. So maybe
And
that's why I'm lacking appreciation.
And this is by no means trying to say that SGA is not a superstar.
Correct.
It's like, and it's not to say he's not a top 3, player in the NBA, 4 player in the NBA. It's just he's not a like you said, he's not an all-time guy. Like I said, you said, a LeBron, a Steph, or whoever. But maybe in the making. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. If you were to take a day off of work, would you rather take off on a Monday or a Friday? It's been going around the internet a lot, and I have a clear answer, so I was just curious to see what your thoughts were.
I'm going to say Mondays because I freaking hate Mondays, and I like working for the weekend. Obviously, I haven't been able to do that with my last job, but whatever. I feel like my answer would be Mondays because Mondays just suck. I've always been a Monday hater, and having a 3-day weekend either way, I would rather work for the enjoyment of Friday night, knowing that I don't have to wake up early the next day, instead of I guess it wouldn't be any different Thursday, but I just feel like taking off on a Monday feels like hell yeah.
I agree with you. I would take off on a Monday, but for different reasons. One, I think Fridays, and I know all jobs are different, but Fridays are pretty universally considered like the chill, easy. We're not getting much, or we're not getting to anything important today. So Fridays are always easier than other days of the week. I agree, like you said, it Fridays working to get off for the evening. Like Friday evening is the good part about Friday.
Might be the best evening of the week.
So, and you're fast forwarding to that by occupying yourself by doing work and then getting right off on Friday. But then also, if you take off Monday, you're then a day closer to the following Friday. You're already closer to the weekend, which is already, like I said, the chill. So I would take a Monday off 10 out of 10 times. But then people say your Monday just becomes an exaggerated Sunday, which I'm not buying that.
No, that's fair. Nope, Mondays all day.
Moving on to our second topic of the day. Kevin Durant was traded to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks. There's been a lot of back and forth between how good this team is, what their title hopes are, what the pressure is, what the expectations are. Steve, with adding Kevin Durant, are the Houston Rockets now title contenders?
No, I do not believe the Houston Rockets are title contenders, and I don't believe Kevin Durant has the impact that he used to on teams. Ever since he tore his Achilles in 2019 playoffs, Kevin Durant has not been out of the second round. Ever since Kevin Durant tore his Achilles in the playoffs in 2019, he has not played more than 70 games but one time. Kevin Durant has stated on numerous occasions he doesn't care about the rings. He doesn't care about what people think about him. He just wants to go out there and play basketball. Now, to all the people who think I'm hating on KD, he is a top 15 player all time. He is the most malleable player and scorer of all time. He is one of arguably the greatest pure shooter of all time and scorer of all time. But when I look at what Kevin Durant brings to the table now for Houston, what was Houston lacking? A veteran leadership presence. What happens when Kevin Durant gets hurt? Because we know it's going to happen. It's history. It's not anything that we haven't seen in the last 6 to 7 years of Kevin Durant's career. Being out for large stretches of the season is common for him. Who do the Rockets turn to at that point? I believe that his numbers are a mirage to what his actual impact on winning is for teams. When they played the Timberwolves in their last trip to the playoffs, when it was Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, I would argue that that team was almost better talent-wise than this Houston team. This Houston team has the depth. They have the young stars, but you can't tell me that Tari Eason is going to step in and fill the role when Kevin Durant gets hurt. Who's their scoring go through? I understand they have the depth, but we're asking if Kevin Durant makes somebody a title contender. When Kevin Durant went to Golden State, they were already title contenders. But ever since he left Golden State, he has gone to teams that when he gets there, they say, oh, title contenders. And regardless of what happens that season, they end up not being title contenders.
I think so. I obviously do think that this team is contenders. I am not prepared to say a team that was the number 2 seed and we just said was a piece away, now adding a great piece in Kevin Durant, can't figure out how to win a couple more games. And I also think where the number one argument against this, I agree with you, is that Kevin Durant has no leadership experience, and there is no evidence to show us that Kevin Durant being the leader of your team can lead to championships. But kind of like what I was talking about with Oklahoma City, I don't think this Houston team necessarily needs a leadership presence. And I don't think, again, in the modern NBA now, with the way teams are built and how they play, it is as important and influential as it was in years past. When you look at teams like Boston, I don't think there is a true cut leader, like stand out, we follow this guy through and through. Same with Oklahoma City, same with Miami, same with Minnesota. All of these teams, maybe Miami not really, but the point still stands, are teams that can and have made deep runs into the playoffs. And they're got it's younger cores that, you know, the motivation is, like I said with Oklahoma City, no one believes in us. We have each other's backs. Let's just ride this wave. So I think Kevin Durant gets there, fills in the missing void of needing a scorer. You have the leadership in Fred VanVleet, who's won a championship, and Udoka, who is an outstanding head coach. Then it's just up to, are they good enough or talented enough? We've seen that they obviously are. They were the number 2 seed last year. They took Golden State to 7 games, and even though they lost in Game 7, they were down 3-1 and came back. So in the face of absolute adversity, they stared it down and did what they could. Is Kevin Durant there? Does that change things? Who knows? I also think in watching that series specifically, Şengün's a competitor. He is tough, he is fiery, and he has a Dylan Brooks-esque attitude when it, like, not so much going after guys, but like I said, it being a just like he has that dog in him. So I think that also may make up for what Kevin Durant doesn't, like, where Anthony Edwards has the X factor of, I'm the ultimate, listen, you're going to rally around me because that's what I'm going to put out there. Where, like you said, Kevin Durant doesn't have that. Can Şengün make up for that in his own sort of way where they don't need it? And I don't think this Houston team is a team where they're lost. Like, they're looking for someone to guide them. Like I just said, they were already kind of doing things on their own without Kevin Durant. And there is zero pressure on this situation for Kevin Durant. Whereas before, going to Brooklyn after Golden State, can he win on his own? What's he going to do with his own team? Then he brings in Kyrie and James Harden. Even more pressure to win. Then he forces his way out of there and goes to Phoenix in that brand new situation, a team that was a few years removed from a title, or from a finals appearance. How are they going to get better? Then they add in Bradley Beal, all this overwhelming talent. There is none of that in Houston for expectations. If Kevin Durant loses in the first round or the finals, our view of him will not change, and I think that helps him. And for Houston's side, we will judge them if they get Kevin Durant and then become worse or stay the same. So the pressure is on them to perform, which I think they're going to use that and succeed. So Are they like? Am I saying right now they're going to make the finals? I have no idea, but certainly one of the teams that could be in contention for it.
I agree that adding a Kevin Durant, and listen, you're talking to the Şengün guy. You know that I've been
Yeah.
talking about this guy for a long time. My thing still lies in the fact that I really think there are at least 2 to 3 teams that they can't beat in the West. I understand that the Rockets, maybe Kevin Durant gets him over that hump. I don't have him beating the Lakers with Luka having a full off season with LeBron. I don't have them beating the Thunder, and I don't have them beating the Nuggets. And I could argue the Timberwolves. So it's like, if I've already got 3 teams ahead of them, can I really call them contenders truly?
Just because, because I agree, I would also pick those teams maybe before them, but that doesn't mean that the season starts and like there are teams that I think no matter what happens, they're not going to be competing for a title.
Correct.
Houston is not one of them. Like, I think if things can fall in the right place, like you said, seeding can be in the right place, some trades can happen, whatever the case may be, that teams fall and they either stay the same or rise. So I'm not going to, just like I said, there's no way I can say that team, that collection of talent, and that roster construction doesn't have a chance to make a deep playoff run.
I guess we'll see.
So maybe maybe they're not contenders, but they are contending. Moving on to our third and final topic, it is everyone's favorite gambling segment, Parlay All Day. The forgotten segment of the sound, one we haven't done in quite some time. We are excited to do this here for you. What Steve and I have done is we have chosen 3 straight bets for the NFL, like future bets that we are pretty confident will happen, and we ourselves not will put money on, but would put money on, because we can't exactly parlay these. So, Steve, looking forward to this 2025 NFL season, what is the first thing you got on your parlay?
So the one that I'm most confident in is Jared Goff throwing for 4,500 yards.
Ooh.
It is plus 450. Plus 450, meaning if you put $10, you win $45. To me, Jared Goff has thrown for 45-75 in 2023 and 46-29 in last season. I see absolutely no reason that wouldn't continue. So Jared Goff for 4,500 yards going into next season at plus 450, that's my most confident bet.
Yeah, I like that bet. I mean, the Lions seem like they're going to be a top 2 or 3 NFC team for several years to come. No reason to expect Jared Goff to have any sort of like fall off or regression year. So yeah, I actually almost picked them to win their not conference, because I don't think they'll win the NFC, but I almost picked them to win their division. That was almost on my parlay, but that's a good one. What I'm most confident in, which I actually thought we were going to have the same, is Pittsburgh to win under 8.5 games. And that's set at minus 135 right now. Steve and I have been very active proponents against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no reason to believe this team is going to be successful. I know Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and said that, the expectations are to make a, play, I forget what the number is, like 13 or not 13, 9, what's the number? 20 something good games, however many NFL games you play if you do the whole postseason. He wants to play all good games. So I don't see them getting into the playoffs, obviously. I don't see them winning their division. I don't see Aaron Rodgers being very good. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be a top 15 quarterback. I just flatly don't. So I think you can very confidently put your money on Pittsburgh to win under 8.5 games.
Man, does the streak finally end for Mike Tomlin's 500? Does it finally end?
It might.
Oh, man. Because I like that. Because the Jets sucked. And he was supposed to be bringing the Jets back. They were supposed to be good, and they weren't. So I like that. The second bet that I have, Cam, that I'm second most confident in, and you take this for what it's worth, the Eagles to have a rushing touchdown in every single regular season game.
Whoa, that is different. I didn't even know that was an option.
Plus 900.
What? plus 900. I might place that. That might
The
get
Eagles'
made
bread and
today.
butter. The Eagles' bread and butter is their rush game. The tush push. Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts. That is their bread and butter, man. Eagles to score a rushing touchdown in every regular season game, plus 900. Second most confident bet.
I can't believe that wasn't your first. That's insane. Plus 900. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a good one. I would also definitely take that. My number 2 leg, also a team wins total. Houston Texans to go under 9.5 wins. Sitting at minus 125 right now. They have I actually almost picked them to win the division. That's how this started. I'm gonna pull up their
under 9.5. Okay.
Under 9.5 wins. They have a very, very tough schedule. Their first 5 games: Rams, Bucks, Jags, Titans, Ravens. They could lose 4 of those 5 games right off the rip. They could. Then after that, Seahawks, Niners, Broncos, Jaguars.
They could lose 2 of those.
Titans, Bills, Colts, Chiefs.
They could lose 2 of those.
Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Colts.
I got 9 possible losses.
That's 8-9.
That's a great bet.
I almost said Chargers. The Texans have a very hard schedule. CJ Stroud coming off a sophomore slump. How is he going to recover? It's not like the Texans made huge, loud moves this offseason.
And they lost Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, right. So Texans under 9.5 wins, minus 125.
And my third most confident bet. This is my dark horse. This is my coup d'etat. Saquon Barkley 2,000-yard rushing season.
Back to back.
Plus 1,000.
Why
I see no reason why he can't do it again. The Eagles found something that works. Every team knew that it worked, and no team could stop it. The Eagles haven't gotten worse. They've gotten better. The Eagles are going to feed Saquon the ball. He is going to get 2,000 yards. You can trust me, guys. Saquon Barkley, 2,000-yard rushing season.
I don't hate it. I just think that is such a hard accomplishment to have twice in a row. You're talking repeat, history in the making.
It was effortless for him last year. It was easy.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he had any trouble doing it.
I guess we'll see. I wouldn't put money on that, but I hope it happens.
And he technically did it in 16 games because he
right. Yeah.
The Giants.
Yeah. So my third leg is, I think you'll like this a lot, actually. The Raiders to win over 7.5 games.
All day.
I think the Raiders, listen, first of all, shout out to my mom who's a Raiders fan. I think the Raiders are flying so under the radar. Now, are they going to be like a deep playoff team? No. Are they going to be someone you fear? No. But this could be the best Raiders team 10, 15 years?
Longer?
Maybe. And I know that sounds like a lot with Geno Smith and Brock Bowers, but with adding Pete Carroll as well, I just think this is the year where things, they're not going to figure it out all at once. They're not going to go from being what they were to being a 10-win team.
And look at their division.
But can they start the makings of something? I don't know. Maybe. I think they will. Raiders at over 7.5. It is plus 135.
It's plus 135.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that bet so much. I am a big Brock Bowers guy. I am a big Ashton Genty guy, who they just drafted. in the
Forgot
first
about
round.
that. Yeah, forgot about that.
I think the Raiders are going to surprise a lot of teams this year. I think this is the best Raiders team since 2000. This might be one of the best Raiders teams in the last 3 decades, Cam. Like, the Raiders have historically not been very good since the 70s and 80s. This now, they have a cultural change within the franchise. Bringing in Pete Carroll. Geno Smith has been one of the most slept on quarterbacks statistically of the last 2 or 3 seasons. And now you're adding the Pete Carroll genius mind that won a national championship in college, won a Super Bowl. Like, he knows what it takes culturally to get the job done. I love that bet, dude. I love that bet.
And that's going to do it for us today, guys. We hope you enjoyed watching and or listening to today's show. Please remember to always like, subscribe, and comment on our channel. That is at @thesound_YT, which is also our Instagram handle if you want to give us a follow there. We do promise to be more active on social media. It has been a very long discussion, and we will post more. Make sure you're hitting that bell at the top of the screen to get notifications for whenever we post so you're staying informed. And folks, always remember, if you're ever in need of intelligent and cogent sports analysis, listen to the sound. We will always have you covered. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. We hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Stay cool, stay safe, take care.
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.